Okay, welcome everyone to Civil 3D Template Strategies Part 3. Today we're going to be talking about maintenance to keep teams efficient. My name is Jake Wan. I'm a technical consultant at SolidCAD, part of the infrastructure and GIS team. I've been working on templates for quite a while. Both in my previous consultant company as well as in SolidCAD for various companies, municipalities, provincial and federal government even. So today we'll kind of focus on using reference templates as a strategy to keep things efficient for various teams. So broadly, we'll talk about why and how, or what reference templates are about and why to use them. So team-specific templates, how to adjust those specific templates with for their styles and layers, and using them. Okay. So reference templates, how reference templates work. Basically, you have a base template. And you have all these other sub-templates that you can reference in. Each sub-template, you can either load them in or not load them in, load them, unload them. It's basically kind of going to work like loading, unloading XREFs kind of thing. So the reason for using this, this setup, so it's really for setting up specific templates for specific disciplines and tasks to keep things as efficient as possible. So generally you can take two approaches, right? So you can set up one general template, basically have it as a Swiss Army knife for everyone, but everybody has to make a little bit of adjustments to get things to work. Well, that's usually the way we go when we first create a template. But once we have that down pat, then it's kind of like, well, this specific team would like to just start, create an alignment, create a profile, just get going without having to make adjustments in terms of styles and layers and that kind of thing. So that's what we're going to take a look at. And the other reason, so task specific, even within one discipline, you're going to need different styles or different layers that you're going to use, whether you're doing road work or stormwater design or parcels, whatever it might be. So, so the idea is that you'll just get to creating objects and focus on the design and spend as little time as possible messing around with styles and that kind of thing. So, and finally, external standards. So maybe you need to prepare drawings using a particular template for a client, like their own template. So maybe you want to reference that into your own drawing or into your own template and have that override a bunch of styles so that it's a lot easier to transfer the files over when you're done your design. Or maybe you receive drawings from your sub-consultants and you like to reference in your own standards into their drawing and then continue working on them. Okay, so I'll just go right into the demo portion. So I'll just minimize that. Okay. And I'll get my Civil 3D up. Okay, so let's take a look at, I'm just going to close some of these files that I've been taking a look at. Let's take a look at the base template. So I'll open up a template file. This is going to serve as my base template. Now, I've been working on public works templates just because we kind of needed them, but it can be anything, right? That's probably going to be your own base template that you start with. So this is basically the host template. This template is going to most of the styles and layers and different things, it's going to rely on the sub templates. So this template is going to be pretty minimal. Now, it's important to keep things sort of clean in the base template. So I'll just start by doing some housekeeping on this. So basically, I'll just do a Control A and just make sure there are no ghost objects hanging around. Sometimes you get phantom parcels in your template because it was borrowed from a design drawing, that kind of thing. So stuff like, clear phantom parcels command, that kind of thing. Just clear it as much as possible. And then I'm going to strip out as much styles as possible with style purge. So I'm going to go with the manage tab and the style purge command. So I'm going to run that and just basically clear out as much as possible. Sometimes you have to run it a couple of times because once you get rid of a set of styles, then the styles that are dependent on the first set of styles that you just got rid of, they open up to being sort of cleared out or purged, right? So I'll run it a few times. Okay, that time there was no unused style, so that's good. Then comes sort of regular purge. So maybe I'll just do a purge and purge like the registered apps. That's usually a good thing to do. So I'll just clear out everything, star for everything. I don't want to say yes or no to each one, so I'm just going to say no to have it all cleared out. So I'll expand my command line so you can see more of that. So it's going to get rid of a bunch of registered apps, and then I'll just run the regular purge a bunch of times. So purge. So basically purge all checked items. You might have to do a couple of passes just to get everything. And finally, things like audit. So whenever you purge out all sorts of stuff, there's a chance that you might get empty styles or null objects. So we'll just do a quick audit check. That turned out to be okay. So that's fine. Now, I don't do this very often myself, but I know a lot of people want to just clear out all the existing layers that they have sometimes in their base template. If you want to do that, then this probably the best way to go is to a merge layer. So I'll just double click on my 0 layer to make it active, because you can't merge any layers that are the active layer. So basically, I'm just going to Control A to select all my layers, and then Control click on the 0 layer to unselect that. Right click on the entire selection and choose the merge selected layer option. Okay. So that is going to merge everything to the 0 layer. And that basically creates a really empty, clean base template that you can load in sub-templates to, right? And this is, so I mean, why not use the sub-templates directly? Why use a base template at all? Well, it's because, when you go with the options, so you open the options, there's this template settings and default template file name for Q new, right? So whenever you create a new file with this plus button, for example, or sometimes even the quick access toolbar new, you want that's going to use some template, and you can only set one really. So it's handy to set a base template, and then you can load in any sub templates that you want instead of manually going hunting after a specific template. Okay, so that's fine. Now all those cleanup actions that we did, So you might want to, it's a lot easier if you make a sort of a little script file for it. So maybe I'll just pop up Notepad and I'll just save it as let's say a cleanup script.scr. So the .scr extension just make sure that it is a script file, or make sure that the program understands it as a script file. So I'll just do a save on that, and just basically pay attention to what you would type in if you were to type these things in instead of running the command. So purge styles, maybe run that 2 or 3 times. Now, purge styles doesn't really have a fully automated way, so it's still going to require a couple of clicks, but at least we can put it in. After it's done, it'll run again. So same with purge, reg apps, select everything, say no to confirm each one. Same with regular purge command, purge all, everything, and say no to confirm each. And maybe I'll just copy paste that again because I want to run it a couple times. And finally, maybe audit and yes. So something like that. Basically, every line that you would type in, you can just put it in a text file, save it as an SCR file, save that. And the usage is pretty simple, like I'll just drag in my folder here. All you would need to do once you create a SCR file is just click drag that in, and it'll just run all those commands for you. Okay. So like I mentioned, purge styles, you can't get away from that dialog box if there are any styles to get rid of, but rest of it we can. So that time it looks like the audit caught a bunch of errors I was able to fix. Now I will save that as my base template. Okay, so once that is saved, well, let's take a look at reference templates. Okay, so how about we talked about a couple of scenarios, maybe different disciplines, maybe different tasks. Let's take a look at a different discipline for the first sort of example. So maybe I'll just do a save as on this one. And I know I have a bunch of dummy ones created, but I'll just save over the electrical one. Let's say we were working on an electrical. So this drawing has to do with power line installations, for example. One of the first things I want to take a look at is basically the object layers. So if I go into the drawing settings and take a look at the object layers tab, as you can see, most of it is set up for road work. So CRO. So if you're a little bit familiar with the public works sort of layer convention, you'll probably recognize that. So civil, road, and then a bunch of stuff. Now, I want this template to be sort of specifically for electrical, for basically installing power lines. So let's take a look at how we can set that up fairly quickly. So for that, I'm just going to use the CIM Manager Suite, the CTC CIM Manager Suite, and export the object layers into a spreadsheet. So I'll just export that to Excel. I have one there already, but I'll just overwrite it. Okay, so that's going to open up this kind of thing. So, all right, so the task now is to basically replace all of these with new ones. So I can go line by line and just type in different, whatever layer that I need for each thing. I'm going to try to speed that up a little bit. We have the full power of Excel, so we might as well use it. So before I get started on any formulas here, if you're interested in, if you're not familiar with Excel formulas, you want to get a copy of this Excel sheet, just contact us. We'll make sure you get a copy. So let's say this is for electrical power lines. So the public works code for that would be E-NW. I'll turn caps on. So that can be my prefix, basically. I'll just fill it using the fill. And then we can do things like, I already got one started, so I'll just show you instead of just starting from scratch here. So I'll close that spreadsheet. I'll close that. And I'll open this one. So if I were to type that out, it takes a little bit of trial and error for me because I'm not too familiar with Excel formulas still. But basically, I got that prefix going. And then what I'm going to do is maybe look for any of these cells that has a word profile in it. For example, that one. And if it has a word profile in it, just add in a suffix called -ver for vertical. So so basically the formula for that is, well, find the string profile. If it's there, it's going to return some kind of number, noting what position it is. So that means that if it's returning a number, well, the word profile is in it. If that's the case, then go with the text -ver. Otherwise, just leave it blank. That's what that formula is there for. Again, we'll make this spreadsheet available. Just contact us and we'll give it to you. So in that column, basically, I'm picking out all the profile cells and just adding a suffix -ver. In the next one, I'm just looking for all the ones that has a word label in it, and then just adding a suffix of -txt. The next one, doing the same thing for tables. The next one over, I'm just combining the columns for labels and text. The next column, I'm just combining the dash text and the -ver. And finally, in the last column, if this cell is empty, just put a -lin because everything else is going to be line work. If not, if it's not empty, just use whatever is there. So that's how I got this final column of all the suffixes. Then in the last column, I basically just jam together the prefix and the suffix together with just like an ampersand sign, right? Just jam that together with that and basically get the final layer name. So I'm gonna just go ahead and select all these, copy it, and paste it into this column. Now it's going to try to copy in the formula, of course, so you have to sort of use this pull down to say, just copy the values, not the formulas. I'm just going to do an undo. If you like keyboard shortcuts, a quick way to do that is to do the keyboard shortcuts for the ribbon. So Alt-H, V, V. So Alt-H highlights a home ribbon tab. V selects a paste option. And another V selects a paste values option. So again, Alt-H, V, V. That's a quick keyboard way of just pasting the values. All right. So now that I have new layer names, I could also take a look at adding a specific, if you adding the object name to the suffix, for example. I'll leave that alone for now, but you can easily fill it in. These are sort of, the different options are just macroed in so that you can't select the wrong choice. So you can select prefix, suffix, or none, that kind of thing. But I'll leave that alone. I'll just clear out all these columns that I basically used just to generate some line layer content, and then basically save that. So I already have the save file, that file saved. So that one right there. So I won't bother overwriting that one. What I'll do is just bring that in. So create edit object layers. And just browse for that Excel file, e-nw complete. And check on create new layers and then go next. So that's going to bring in all those. And I'll just go OK. So now if I check my drawing settings, my object layers, it's been basically set up for this specific task for basically everything. So I think I could have selected better layers for some of these items, right? But I'm just trying to show you quickly how it can be done in a couple of minutes. So bear with me for that. So now I can just save this as my electrical sort of template. Now that I have some layers to work with in this electrical template and this power line template, I can do a couple more things. So I can do, well, first of all, I'll fire up the template tracker on CIM Management Suite. Basically check for I forgot to do an audit for null table style. So that's going to be an issue. So let me just, I always forget to check for that. Now, let me just close that and fire up a new instance of Civil 3D. So whenever you purge out styles and things, Civil 3D often leaves behind these null items, and it causes all sorts of trouble. So that's why it's a good idea to just run audit once in a while. And I should be back up to speed pretty quick here. So basically the next thing to do is now that we have some layers to work with, just make sure all the, try to set as many things as you can, as many layer settings for your various styles and things. So let me just open up that electrical template again. Okay, and this time I'll just run a quick audit. Just make sure that we clear out some of those null things. Okay, so looks like it didn't find any that time, but I'll just do a quick save. All right, so yeah, so you can do you can search for different I'll work on the text styles first. So just firing up the template tracker to the text styles. Here, I'm just going to go with one style for everything, or like an annotative style. So I'll just select all that, swap with that one. Or actually, it's the other way around. So select all these other ones, and then just basically swap them out with RSNO. I'll do that with that one. That one's not being used. That one. Just select everything and then swap to RSNO. And this one's some kind of a duplicate. So select that text style. I get a list of all the different styles that are being used, that are using that text style. So swap it out to RSNO and standard. Same thing here. Swap that to here. Okay, so everything should be in this text style. Now I can get rid of the other ones. I'll just delete that one, that one. Okay, so some of them looks like it's still kind of bound up in some kind of a Civil 3D style. I'm gonna have to track that down. I'm not even gonna bother trying to delete the standard one because that one it's kind of built into the file and it really doesn't like it when you try to delete the standard ones. So I'll leave that alone. It's good enough that everything's using this style that I want to use as far as I can tell. And we can do this similar kind of thing with dimension styles. So, well, dimension styles already cleaned up. The only other one standard. Multi-liter, same thing. Okay, so everything looks good. Just go close. Save. And here I'll open the tool space. So next thing is just to set up like the global label styles and layer, that kind of thing. So I'll go into settings, right click on the drawing title, edit label style defaults. Open up the label item and then make sure that it's using the right style and the right layer. So here it looks like it's using some kind of a null layer. We'll fix that. So click on that and I'll use ENW text for all the labels. And okay. So that should push itself down to all the different styles as far as all the labels go. And that's something that's gonna, so I'll do a quick save. That's something that I can check using the template tracker. So if I open up the template tracker, select ENW text, basically showing me all the styles that are now using ENW text because I set it at the global level. So it might be that I change that at the individual style level. We'll talk about that in a bit, but as a default, that's a good place to start, right? Okay, so there we go. So a couple of things have been sort of set at the global level. We can hunt down sort of text styles and layers with the template tracker. Actually, I haven't taken a look at the layer too much. Let me go back into it and just take a look. So a lot of things are using LIN, TXT, VER. Okay. And a bunch of things that are using the 0 layer at the moment because I happen to change it. So for example, let me take a look at the feature line style, right? So we can use the template tracker to quickly clean that up. So let's say everything that's using the 0 layer, but let me grab all these feature line styles and then basically swap the 0 layer out with the line layer, ENW-LIN. So now that's going to be cleaned up. So there's a lot of items here, but it's not going to take that long because you know, I'm taking care of a whole bunch of items at the same time. So for example, let me just look for all the table styles, all the styles that have the word table in it. You know, I can grab all those and say, instead of using 0 layer, use the text layer instead, right? So you have filters here, filters there. You can just grab a whole bunch of them and just take care of them at once. So with just those 2 actions, I basically managed to clear out probably a 1/5 of the styles that needed clean up. I'm not going to finish doing that. I'll just leave that alone for now. But otherwise normally I would just spend another 5 minutes and just clean that all up. But for now, I'll just save that. Okay, so we've generated some layers for this specific task. We've set the layer and the text file at the global level. We've done some layer swaps at the individual style level using the template tracker. Now it's just that takes care of sort of this template at the general level. At the general level. Now, what you would want to do is actually go through the steps of creating certain things, right? Like create feature lines, create a surface, maybe create an alignment. I'll use an alignment for an example. So let's say I'll just create a test alignment. Okay, so maybe just a quick alignment. And then here, what we can do is just edit, take a look at what styles we have available, first of all, and edit those styles. And right now, see, this is why I usually don't do the, get rid of all layers for the base drawings, because right now it's all at 0. But, if you really wanted to clean house, that is something that you can do. Right now, I'll just select all those line elements and put that on the ENW-LIN layer. So if I wanted to take a little bit of time, I'd do that for sort of model and the section as well. But for now, I'll just apply and go OK. Apply and go OK. And, then, you just go through each item one by one. So you do, maybe one of the things that you would do is just check over the alignment creation settings. So in the settings, go drill down to alignment, commands, create alignment layout. Just check all the default settings that you would get in the dialog box when you go to create that. So curve and spiral settings, for example, tessellation options, all this stuff. Get it to the way that you want it for that type of task, for that discipline. And the next time, once this template's all set up, really the user should have nothing to do except just create the object and go with it. So I just did it for the alignment, but we can do that for profiles. We can do that for profile views. We can do that for corridors or pipe objects. So it might take a little bit of time, but this is eventually it's basically going to pay off, especially if you have a lot of users using these templates. So that's how we can kind of go through that. Now, again, like I mentioned, we've done it for a different discipline, but we could do it for within the same discipline as well. So road design, rail design, sanitary, maybe even survey, because a surveyor working with Civil 3D drawing, they're going to have a very specific and different use than somebody who's going to take that info and design roads with it. And it's still going to be, and that is in turn going to be very different from somebody that takes that information, the top of the road, and designs the pipe network with it, kind of thing. So very sort of specialized template for specific tasks. Okay, so that's something that we can do. Now, how about once we get a specific sort of sub-template set up, what do we do with that? Well, we will go back into the base template. And I've already set these links up already, but basically you would go to the Manage tab, click on the reference. And right now I have all these loaded in, but I'll just, if I were to redo it, I'd basically just clear those out. So just hit the green button to load in subtemplates. Go find your template files and then just load them all in. So I'll select everything except for the base template and the core template that I started with, and just go open. So in this template, sort of some templates, sub-template setup, I'll just uncheck all these because I don't want to bring all of them in by default. So it's going to be, those are all going to be available for you to bring in. And basically I'll just save that, apply that, and okay. Now, a few things you might want to check. So by default, it brings in everything. So under styles, all the Civil 3D styles. Under settings, the drawing settings and the feature settings. Under layers, all the layers that are contained in that drawing. Other resources, blocks, text styles, line types, and even property sets if you're using property sets. So if there are certain items that you don't need, just uncheck them here. And then, well, that can be verified when you actually create a new drawing. So now that all those reference templates have been attached there, I'll just go okay. So what does creating a new drawing look like once this thing has, let's assume that we've done the electrical, we've done all the other sub, and when we're adding, maybe you don't complete all of them at once in the beginning, but you're adding different sub disciplines as you go along, or sub templates as you go along. Now, how is this being used? So basically you just go new, and then you choose that base template. So I have a brand new drawing 2 based on that template. It's not going to contain very much. It's just gonna have, like, I cleared everything out from the base. What you would basically do is just go to manage, go to the reference, and just bring in the stuff that you need. Let me just expand that a little bit. Actually, no, I can see the names right there. So if I were to set up an electrical drawing, it's setting that it's out of date. That's okay. I'll just put a check mark on that, go apply, and okay. And then it's gonna, oh. Of course. These things always happen when I'm trying to demo things. Okay. So essentially what's supposed to happen is that you're supposed to get a new drawing, and then you'll have, you'll put a check mark on the sub template that you want. And then you're going to get all the layers and the styles that that reside in that sub template, so that you can just go on using it as that one. Let me try to recover that. Okay, it'll just take just a little bit longer. Okay, so let me just take a look at recovering that. Whoops, sorry. So new template from that file. So basically a new drawing based on the base template. And I'll go to manage screen, go to the reference, and turn on the template that I want. Now, there has been, anytime you create a change in the original template, for example, the electrical one, it's going to mark it as out of date. It's not going to automatically push the change on you in case, in case you have it set up the way that you want currently, like in the middle of a project. You don't want the source reference template to push all sorts of style changes when your project is basically ready to print kind of thing. So it's optional whether you want to update it or not. So right now, I will choose to update it. I'll just select that item and just hit that update. And then go apply and OK. Oh, shoot. So I seem to have broken something on my Civil 3D that doesn't seem to be working very nicely with me with reference today. So let me try that again. All right. Okay, so while that's loading up, so you can create new drawings based on your templates. You can reference in your sub-templates. If you have any templates that that you receive from your sub-consultant or your client, you can reference in as those as well. Or maybe it's the other way around. You open up the sub-consultant's drawing and then reference in your own. So it's pretty flexible as to how you can operate. All right, so just open that up. Okay, so I think I might have done something to that electrical template. So this time I'll just try bringing in the civil template. Or it could just be that once in a while, I just have a Windows update that occurred in the background that I don't know about. And it needs to be rebooted. And until then, everything will break. So can't really do that in the middle of a webinar, but I'll try one of the other templates and see if it'll, no, it doesn't seem to be working with me today. So that's been working for me all morning. That's been working for me basically, whole time without any trouble. And today it decided to sort of putter out. So I think I'm done trying to get that to work. I'm gonna basically reboot the computer before I try again, but I'll just leave it there. So yeah, just to review. So create a base template, keep it minimal, very few things. Develop a sub template as you go along. Probably the first template that you're going to have is your sort of general purpose Swiss Army knife template that you used to have. And then, sorry, let me just switch this. And then you can add things as you go along, right? So you can add in different specific tasks, specific disciplines. And what that's going to do is, so the end goal is basically create objects, not have to alter templates. Because if you can achieve that for whatever discipline or task that it is. So if you have a small team, maybe still go with the Swiss Army knife, sort of one general template. But if you have a larger team, like as soon as you start having multiple people trying to do multiple things, you might start hearing complaints about the surveyor saying, why is this always set that way? I need it this way so that I can get my field to finish done quicker, that kind of thing. So maybe that's the time when it's a good time to split off into different templates and then reference it all into a base template. So if you can achieve, let's say you have a team of 100 people, if you can save 5 minutes from everyone's day or everyone's week, typically your templates are going to be good for at least 5 to 10 years or something like that. So that's a lot of chargeable time that gets saved over time. So, okay, and then finally, easier to integrate with external standards from your client or your subconsultant. Yeah, so key is object layers, your drawing layers. Try to, the CIM management tools helps a great deal with that, make things a lot quicker. So I was able to basically populate the entire object layer component in front of you in a couple of minutes, albeit it wasn't as sophisticated as it could have been, but it was a heck of a lot faster than me trying to edit one of those things one cell at a time. So, okay, that's what I have for you today. There were 2 previous items in the series. So there was one that focused on basically trimming and then simplifying your template into sort of like a minimalist template. There's also a part 2 that basically I started with a brand new file and then built up a brand new template, Civil 3D template, and going through all the steps through that, including sort of setting up a tool palette to house all your elements, drawing elements for quicker access. So take a look at those as well if you haven't. And that's about it for me today. So thank you for joining on the Civil 3D Template Strategies Part 3, maintenance to keep your teams efficient. Sorry for all the crashes that I had, but sometimes that's just how things go. All right, thank you very much.